Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Hope all of you are having a good day. Um, I am doing a recipe today with a lesser known cut of meat. I'm going to show you guys how to prep it and make it. So this is a flank steak. So a lot of people in recent years, this is becoming more popular. This used to be a really cheap cut of meat that nobody wanted to deal with because it does take a little bit of patience making it. So this cut of meat comes from the belly of a cow. So typically, like ribeye, ribs, tenderloin, that's all up on the back. This is underneath in the abdominal wall, right before you get to the leg meat. So typically, it's recognizable because of the grain in it. So you can see the striations of the muscle. And this is a pretty lean muscle. There is some fat here on the edges, but that's okay. You don't want to cut all the fat off because this is its flavor with soy. We are going to make a marinade for this, and then we're going to grill it. So ideally, when you're marinating meat, you want to do it for at least 4 or 5 hours, if not overnight. I'm not going to do it quite that long because this is dinner. Um, and then it's comes like this, so it's kind of like a flat piece of meat. If you're at the grocery store, they may also call this a London broil. So if you see something marked London broil, that is also the same as a flank steak. I was going to put this in a pan that we will marinate it in, and I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to wash my hands. So anytime you're dealing with raw meat and then going to product that's not raw, you do need to wash your hands. Don't want to get anybody sick with cross contamination. And I always have towels around in my kitchen, so I'm going to wipe down any juices that may have gotten on the board and just do a quick wipe of my board. And that's just a sanitizing spray. All of this is going to be going into the marinade, so it's going to be touching the raw meat anyway. I don't want to take any chances. So if you're new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Ruby, and this is a baking and cooking channel. I also stream live on a platform called Kick, and then I've also started doing some TikTok shorts. So you can check me out on any of those platforms as well. I do post stuff to Twitter as well. So all of those links will be in the description box below. So you can check out my stuff there. This channel is going to be more for the lengthy recipes that I have. So obviously I can't do a marinade on my live stream because this has to sit and tenderize. So I'm doing it here on my YouTube channel. So welcome in if you're new. Thank you for stopping by my kitchen. I have been in the food industry for longer than I would like to admit. I've worked at restaurants and bakeries for quite a long time, and I've also gone to culinary school. So I'm just here to give you guys some tips and tricks and recipes that you can do in the kitchen. It'll make you look like you had training, like you went to culinary school. It'll impress people. It's not that hard. So don't be intimidated by the kitchen. I typically try to show more method than exact recipes. Those tend to intimidate people if they're missing one or two ingredients. They kind of get freaked out. I know people like that, and then they just don't want to cook at all. So I'm trying to teach you more methods that you can apply to different products and kind of pick and choose what ingredients you like that fit your flavors that you enjoy, and then go from there. When it comes to baking, I will be posting recipes in the description box because baking you need to be a little bit more exact in order for the chemical reactions to happen that make things bake quickly. So, sorry, I can't help that. That's just how the world works with the baking. That's why a lot of chefs either prefer savory or pastry. A lot of chefs don't like doing both, but I do. So, moving in, it's a little bit of background about me. So for the marinade, I am going to start off with the wet ingredients. So this is rice wine vinegar. We're going to start with that, and the vinegar will start breaking down some of the cartilage and and that's in there, and some of the more sinewy parts of it. So it'll make it more tender. So I'm going to start off with about half a cup of that. Rice wine vinegar is becoming a lot more readily available. It used to be a product that was really hard to get a hold of, but a lot of the Asian ingredients are kind of hitting the mainstream, so it's a lot easier to find, including this one. This is called Ponzu. So this is like soy sauce, but it has citrus added to it, and I think it just has better flavor than plain soy sauce. But if you don't have Ponzu, again, don't need to freak out. This is just a method. You can absolutely substitute soy sauce or tamari. If you're gluten free, you can use coconut aminos. And I'm going to do another half a cup of that. And then I'm also going to do the juice and the zest of one lime, my little zester. I have a lot of kitchen appliances, and this is one that I use a lot. So this is called a microplane, and they're not that expensive. They're anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks. I've had this thing for years, and I love it. So it's really good for zesting citrus without taking off any of the pith, which is the white part that can be bitter. So it just takes the zest where all the flavor and oils of a citrus are. So if you don't have one of these, I highly recommend it. If you know someone that doesn't have one, they make a great birthday or Christmas gift. Just get all the zest off the back of that into the main. And then for the juice of the lime, I'm going to roll this. My so you can see it a little bit better. I'm going to roll this on the cutting board just to get and kind of press down on it. And what that does is it gets the juices moving in the lemon or lime, and it's going to be a little bit easier to juice. Just cut that in half and squeeze in the juice. And most limes don't typically have seeds in them like a lemon does, so I'm not really worried about that right now. And again, this is just a marinade, so even if there was a seed or two, it's not that big of a deal. Just gonna throw that out. I try to stay pretty clean in the kitchen. It's just one of those things that are you're trained to do in culinary school, as you clean as you go as best you can. And then to this, I'm also going to add about a teaspoon of sesame oil. Not too much. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but that is very potent. So you do not need a lot. And then also about a teaspoon of chili oil for a little bit of heat. Just stir. And then I'm going to pop in some garlic cloves. So I have quite a few of them here because some of them are a little small. And I'm cracking them just so they open up a bit and release some of the oils and the flavor, as opposed to just leaving them whole. You're not going to get a lot of flavor out of it. You need to break it down a little bit. So you're just placing the flat side of your knife against it and kind of smacking it a little bit, and it breaks it up. All right, the next thing, I pulled out two, but I think I'm only going to use one, is a jalapeno, again, for some heat. You could use a serrano pepper. You could use a Thai chili, like the little angry red ones. I don't want to blow anybody's taste buds out with this, so we're just going to do a jalapeno. That in there. But I'm leaving the seeds. I do want heat in there, just not where you can't taste anything else. And then the last thing I'm going to put in the marinade is going to be some ginger. I'm just going to cut this into chunky pieces. Again, we're not going to be eating this. It's just to flavor the marinade. So it doesn't matter that the skin is still on. Doesn't matter what size it's cut. That's enough to kind of release the oils and get that ginger flavor in there. And then before I pour that over the flank steak, the last aromatic that I'm going to add to this is going to be some green onion. And again, I don't care how you cut this. We're not eating any of it. If you have lemongrass available to you in your area, that would also be a really nice flavor component. My grocery store didn't have any lemongrass when I went, so right, we're just gonna pour that over the flank steak. And then I'm just gonna pop that in my fridge outside and let it marinate while we work on the rest of dinner. Just unclip a little bit, and then we will move on to the rice. Hold on a minute. So for a side dish today, I am making wild rice. So I have about a cup of it in this measuring cup. And it looks like this. It's called wild rice because it hasn't really been processed. It still has the hull of it on there, which is why it is that dark brown or black color. Because of that, it does take longer to cook than regular white or even brown rice. So I'm going to be using my rice cooker for that. So I have 1 cup of the rice. And the rice measurements, pretty much any rice that you use is going to be a 2-to-1 ratio. So I have a giant can of chicken stock here. And I'm going to measure out 2 cups. I go through a lot of stock, so I buy the big can. Okay. And then it just depends on the settings for your rice cooker, but I'm just going to pop this in. You can also use an Instapot. that works better. But I'm not going to put it on the regular rice setting because, again, that's going to be for your processed rice that doesn't have the hull. I know this is going to take a while, so I'm going to put it on. It's for me. It's the setting called stews. It's about 30 minutes, which I know sounds like a long time for rice, but in order for the hull to become tender enough to eat and it'll split open, it's going to need some time in there. Disregard my sink. There's I did a live stream earlier, so there's quite a few dishes. All right. So we got the main dish, which is the flank steak marinating, and then we have the rice starting to go. So I will be right back in a few of your time. It's going to be about an hour or two in my time, and we'll see where we're at. Sorry about that. I had to take a pause. I think my microphone and little wireless mic may have died. So if you missed any of the last of what I did, I just drained off the butternut squash and then I mix it with a little bit of chili oil and some fried chili and onion flakes. And that's set. And then while I was doing that and switching out the meat was done. So I pulled it out of the oven and I've let it rest. It's been resting for about 5 to 10 minutes. You always want to let meat rest before you start cutting it. It allows the juices to kind of calm down because when they're hot, they're kind of all over the place. They're in a frenzy. And you want to let them cool down a little bit and calm down and kind of soak back into the meat. So if you try to cut meat when it's still too hot, all the juices are going to go everywhere. It's not blood that's coming out of the meat, it's the juices. And that'll lead to a very dry piece of meat. So you're going to have to practice a little bit of patience and give it a minute. And then now we're going to cut this. And so the grains, especially on a flank steak, the grains of the meat is very prominent. So they're running this way. So when you cut it, you want to cut it perpendicular to that. So if you've ever had like a chewy piece of meat, it's probably because they cut with the grain instead of against the grain, and it makes those fibers really tough. So we're cutting against the grain on some pretty thinner pieces. These end parts are going to be more of like a medium well, and it's going to be more towards like the medium rare, towards the thicker part. So that should kind of satisfy all the different temps that people like to eat. So looks like so. Beautiful. Nice and tender still. It's caramelized on the outside and cooked all the way through. The juices are still distributed back into the meat, so it's nice and juicy. We're going to pop this onto our rice and squash that I've already plated. Just like that. And that is dinner. That is your flank steak. So that's what I got for you. That's my dinner today. Thank you for everyone that stopped by my kitchen. If you like cooking and baking and you want to learn more, just hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so the next time I post, you will be notified. I'd appreciate it. If you have any recipes that you want me to try or any questions, just leave them down in my comments. I'll try to get back to you. And yeah, I will see you next time. Hope you guys are hungry when you come in, and hopefully we have a good time when you hang out. Thank you.